Goaltending is voodoo, and it always is, but especially in 2024. Let's talk about it. It's more unpredictable than the weather, snowing out teams, and stranger than the NHL's attempts at appealing to Zoomers, which to me is just painful. Although I kind of like those jerseys. They're not bad. They're okay. But really, think about this. The goaltenders with arguably the most hype coming into this season are giving up goals in clusters. At the same time, you got an ageless wonder, 1 year removed from helping an expansion team make the playoffs, gets another shot at life, and turns back the clock yet again. His replacement,
this is the coolest thing that's ever happened in my whole life.
Just came 1 goal short of a Calder Cup last year, now in the Vezina conversation this year, and a guy who was thought to be the answer, fresh off a new contract, gets sent down to the minors, only to lose his starting job there too. All while only one goalie has held true to his name, and I'll tell you who that is. Goalies, they're up and down year by year, often impossible to predict. But this year, things are more volatile than usual, don't you think? The league average save percentage in 2024 is .903, the worst since 2006, although it's similar to last year too. Lots of high-scoring games, and elite goaltending has been hard to come by. So in this video, we'll break down the stories of 5 goalies who are having surprising seasons, and the one who isn't. We'll pour over stats, watch some film, and put it all into context. Keep in mind I'm watching with my own biases, so if you want to fill in some details, where you think I missed some, the conversation is wide open. Or if you'd like, drop a comment below right now, and let me know who you think wins the Vezina this season. I'll let you know my early choice by the end of this video. We have got to start in New York, though, with what I would argue is the biggest goaltending surprise of the season. Igor Shesterkin, who many would consider the best goaltender in the world, hasn't been on his game this season. In fact, he's been far from it. Shesterkin's goals against average and save percentage put him near the bottom of the league in both categories, a place he is most certainly not familiar with, and a far cry from where he was 2 seasons ago when he won the Vezina Trophy. Despite that, the Rangers are 27-13-2 with 56 points, leading the Metropolitan Division. And Shesterkin may have just had a breakout game with a 24-save victory over Washington. But for the first time really ever, he's giving up goals in clusters and getting exposed in side-to-side movement. This footage is from January 8th when New York hosted the high-flying Vancouver Canucks, who ranked first in goals for per game. Seriously, just elite puck movement. But Shesterkin isn't challenging shooters the way he normally does, and he's not making the high danger saves. No one wants to pick on the goalie, especially not this one. And you can almost always blame a defensive lapse instead, but Shesterkin is known for bailing his team out, and this year, that isn't happening. More of the same in St. Louis. 3 nights later, Jordan Kyrou notching a hat trick. How do the Rangers keep winning when arguably their best player is having an off season? Well, out of their 27 wins this season, the Rangers have outshot their opponents in 20 of them. They're also 8th in shots against per game while boasting the 2nd most lethal power play in the league, sometimes 3rd, sometimes 1st, depending on the night, hovering around a 29% clip. The Rangers win with puck possession and offensive execution, making up for those defensive lapses and the goaltending situation. And while the team takes its fair share of penalties, they rank 7th in penalty killing percentage, meaning the Rangers get the job done where it counts the most. The true test for Shesterkin, as always, will come in the postseason. Plenty of time to make this all a bad memory. But here's the thing. Shesterkin, he's not the only hyped goalie in New York. The New York Islanders gave Ilya Sorokin a massive deal, and now he ranks, as I'm looking, 23rd in save percentage and 40th in goals against average. But you have to feel for him, because even though the team is still in contention, they have not made his life easy by any means. Heavy workload, facing so many shots. And the team is 12th in goals against, giving up 4 or more goals 20 times this season. Did the same thing just 23 times all of last season. The defense is in the tank, giving up almost as many shots against per game as the San Jose Sharks, the consensus worst team in the league. Now Adam Pelech, the team's best defensive defenseman, did miss some time, but it also could be the lack of structure on the defensive side of the puck since Barry Trotz left, and they're often caught chasing and struggling to clear the zone, leading to Sorokin getting absolutely peppered with shots. Like in this January 9th game against, you guessed it, Vancouver. Pettersson holds the puck at the blue line, but the Islanders stop playing, assuming it's offside. Noah Dobson lunges behind the net. Now, under Trotz, the defenseman would wait there and let the play come to him. He gets bailed out by Sorokin on the first one, but then, of course, Hughes feels out the open ice and fires it home. Sorokin has not been there either for those bailout saves, sitting 28th in high danger unblocked shot attempt save percentage. Last season was 4th in the league in the same category. Seriously, it's wild to see this aging team pull a 180 from a defensive team that can't score to an offensive team that can't play defense. But the Islanders have reportedly made some tweaks, so we'll see if it pays off. Okay, now we've got the depressing stories out of the way. Here are the bright spots, the surprises, and in my opinion, the best stories between the pipes this season. Martin Jones, a 6'5" goaltender from North Vancouver, helped Seattle to the playoffs last year, 27-13, with Philip Grubauer out on IR. Jones was on an expiring contract, about to turn 34, so instead of re-signing him, they let him walk, and he signed in Toronto, where he toiled in the AHL. Then the Maple Leafs goaltending situation soured. Ilya Samsonov, who posted a .394 goals against average in 15 games played, was placed on waivers, and as a last resort, the Leafs turned to Jones. It was, in fact, his third chance at life at age 34. And in 12 starts, he's 8-4-1 with a .230 goals against average. He has cooled off a little bit, but overall body of work, still good. Let's go back to December 16th. 38 save shutout against Pittsburgh. Not only was Jones solid playing with the lead, but he even got involved in Toronto's offensive onslaught, showing great confidence. He did stumble in his next 2 games, but found steady footing in late December. Then he kicked the new year off with a 31 save shutout against a tough Los Angeles Kings team. Even in the plays that didn't show on the score sheet, you can see his sharpness tracking the puck. He does prove to be a little bit rebound happy, but even then, Jones shows snappy recovery time and vision in traffic. It's worth noting his next 3 wins came against non-playoff teams, and then he gave up 4 goals on 30 shots against the Islanders. But the odds were always there that when his high-danger save percentage cooled off, the numbers would come back down to earth, to some extent, and that's already happened. But the Maple Leafs, not complaining either way. They're just happy to have a serviceable goalie. Neither is the team that let Jones walk, though. I mean, they let him walk for a reason. The Seattle Kraken knew they might have something in this 27-year-old, Joey Daccord. His Coachella Valley Firebirds made it all the way to the 2023 Calder Cup Finals, only to lose to the Hershey Bears in overtime, Game 7. 26 playoff games, Daccord flourished, 15 wins, .926 save percentage, translating incredibly well into the NHL. Eerie. Listen to this. Through 26 games in Seattle, his save percentage was almost identical at .925 and a 12-5-8 record. And maybe most impressively, Daccord stole the spotlight on the national stage. Watch how calm and steady he was. Daccord consistently kept his body square to shooters, closing the 5-hole with minimal wasted movement. Also note his situational awareness, with Paul Cotter speeding in, assesses the 1-on-3 situation, and squares up aggressively, with no second chance. And he didn't see the puck clearly on a couple of these, but he certainly did on this one. The save of the game. I think Eichel will remember the name Joey Daccord. And while he's certainly in the Vezina conversation, he's not my pick. And we'll get to my pick, but first we gotta give a shout out to Cam Talbot. Cam Talbot is having one of the best seasons of his life. Following stints in Edmonton, Philadelphia, Calgary, Minnesota, and Ottawa, Talbot is seeing a resurgence with the Kings. Now, of course, a 14-10-5 record doesn't fully reflect that, but his .234 goals against average and .918 save percentage certainly do. Now, there's no question, a big part of this is the Kings' defense has improved big time year over year, boxing out, clearing out the front of the net, allowing Talbot to see the puck clearly. But Talbot has been there when they need him. Maybe his toughest test of January 2024 came against the hot Florida Panthers. Talbot made 38 saves on 41 shots in an overtime loss, but what stands out the most is his poise and concentration. He hasn't been extraordinary, but he has been much better than expected and just might win the Masterton. So who's the midseason favorite for the big hardware? Well, to me, the clear-cut Vezina candidate thus far has to be Connor Hellebuyck. No one thought the Jets would be where they are today, leading the Central Division. However, thanks to some magic from young guns like Cole Perfetti, a key trade acquisition in Gabriel Velarde, and the play of Connor Hellebuyck, among other things, the Jets had an impressive first half of the year. Despite a 31-game workload, Hellebuyck's save percentage sits at .924, and his goals against average is sparkling at .219. He's on pace for yet another consistent season, despite playing more than 60 games the previous 2 seasons. His durability, steadiness, and reliability are hard to find in a game where elite goaltenders are few and far between. The crease-clogging presence, known to be a goaltending savant, has been sharp since signing his 7-year, $59.5 million contract extension before the season. Look at this sneaky chance for Ivan Provorov in Hellebuyck's recent shutout of the Blue Jackets. It looks innocent enough, but Provorov, a talented offensive defenseman, was left all alone, and yet, because of Hellebuyck's size, reach, and positioning, it almost seemed like nothing happened. He has one Vezina Trophy under his belt back in 2019-2020. Will he make it 2 in 2024? A lot can happen in another 40 games. In a season where goaltending is as unpredictable as it is mediocre, honestly, genuinely, who knows? But I, for one, am entertained. Now guys, if you enjoyed this style of video, please do let me know in the comments below, and that way I'll know to do it again. Either way, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Go Zone Hockey.